about healthcare subjects, and I'll introduce IM in a second. What's the purpose of this healthcare forum is to provide healthcare education, and we will repeat it before every healthcare forum presentation so that people understand what we are trying to accomplish here, share health-related information, whatever that may be, and explain the scientific information in simple language. And we will be using Hindi, English, Punjabi, Gujarati. Those 4 languages we are able to do. And presentation can be mixed and not necessarily just be given in one single language. There are a few ADS disclaimers. We will not provide any personal consultation. So please avoid discussing your own condition or condition of a friend or family member or cases that you are seeing somewhere, and we should not talk about other people's healthcare situation, just not so that we respect everyone's privacy and not violate HIPAA. No comments or review of any medical records. We will not discuss the results of any radiologic testing, lab test, etc. We will not discuss or order any prescriptions or lab tests. There are no comments on any medical legal topics. And the faculty, whoever is the speaker and other faculty reserves the right not to answer any questions if that's the case. This is neither a volunteer clinic nor any kind of healthcare service. We are not a medical or dental corporation. We are working under ADS, a nonprofit organization. And of course, ADS is not responsible for any faculty statement or opinion. That is the speaker's own opinion. So please respect privacy. Please do not contact providers to call prescriptions and other orders. And as I said, that you are able to ask your health questions as long as you are not identifiable or it's not personal. The answers can be given in all the languages listed here. And tonight we proudly feature Dr. Dhiren Nanavati. Dr. Nanavati is orthopedic surgeon. He did his master's in orthopedic surgery from Ahmedabad, India. And then he underwent orthopedic residency at Downstate University in New York. Subsequently, he was a hand fellow and specialized at the Columbia Presbyterian Hospital and the University of Southern California. He had joint replacement fellowship. He started his private practice in Marion, Ohio, where he was there for 24 years. But in the heart of his hearts, he always missed us and decided to move to Stockton. And he moved to Stockton for really good. You can see 17 years at Kaiser and continuing. So welcome to Dhiren Bhai. One year he had, I guess, some midlife crisis, decided to move to India with bags and baggage. And it lasted for about a year. And then he was back in here. But there he worked in Hinduja Hospital as a joint replacement surgeon. He is very astute. We all know him. Very helpful in every situation, and especially if it comes to anything with the injury or joint and bone related problems. So with no further ado, I present to you Dhiren Bhai. Virtu, go ahead and get your slides there.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining the program. Namaste. And before we go into my subject, I'm going to ask you these questions. Are you using masks? Are you maintaining good hygiene? And are you practicing social distancing? If you get corona, osteoporosis will become a minimal issue. So you won't even have to worry about it. So please be careful, stay safe, and keep others safe. Next slide, please. Vituji, next slide.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do. There.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about osteoporosis, which in layman's term is known as weak bones. It is a silent disease because quite often people don't realize for many years that they do have osteoporosis. And that's why it is important to know what osteoporosis is, how it can be prevented, and what can be done for it. Next slide, please. So we are going to talk about what is definition of osteoporosis, what happens in it, who is at risk, what causes it, how do you know you have osteoporosis, how do you diagnose it, and what is the medical management. Next, please. So its scientific definition is metabolic skeletal disease characterized by low bone density and microarchitectural deterioration of bone tissue, which results in increased bone fragility and susceptibility to a fracture. So translation in English, as we get a little bit older, our bones become somewhat weaker, the architecture of the bone deteriorates, they become more fragile, and they tend to break more easily. And the commonest bones where the fractures occur from osteoporosis are your spine, so vertebrae, the wrist bone, the hips, and also the shoulder frequently. Next, please. This slide shows you the architecture of a normal bone. On the top, you see the femur bone, which is the upper end of the thigh bone, and you will see there is a window here, and the lower two slides indicate on the left side what the normal bone would look like, and the one on the right side shows osteoporotic bone. So you can see the slide on the left, which shows that there is nice, strong bone, and there are holes in it, which are called lacunae. And these are not empty bone, empty spaces. They are filled with blood cells, arteries, veins, and bone cells. So bone is a very live tissue. Now the picture on the right side shows that the bone structure has become thinner, the spaces have become wider, and in fact, right in the center, you can see that there is a fracture in the bone. So this is the difference between a normal bone and osteoporotic bone. Next slide, please. So what really happens in osteoporosis? So it is result of prolonged imbalance of bone remodeling. What does that mean? That bone remodeling occurs throughout our life. So in every bone, there is very active activity going on. There are cells called osteoclasts, which remove the old bone. And there are cells which are called osteoblasts, which form new bone. And generally, during your younger years, the bone formation is much more than bone removal or destruction. And that's why our bone gets stronger and stronger up to age of 30. Once we reach age of 30, there's a very gradual, very slow decrease in bone strength. And I will show you that in the next slide, but with aging, the peak bone mass, which you get at age of 30, gradually starts decreasing. Why? Because number one, calcitonin is a hormone which is secreted by thyroid, and it inhibits destruction of bone. But as we get older, calcitonin decreases. Estrogen, which is a hormone, also decreases bone breakdown. But as we get older, especially in females, the estrogen decreases significantly with age, and therefore the bone gets weaker. And parathyroid hormone, which is also controlling bone metabolism, increases. It is supposed to decrease the turnover, and because it is increased, you get osteoporosis. Next slide, please. So this one shows you how the bones change their strength. From birth up until puberty, there is gradual increase in strength of the bone. Once a boy or a girl, they reach puberty, there is sudden uptake in strength in the bone. They get taller, they get bigger, their diet increases, they are exercising, so the bone gets stronger. And this continues until age of 30. at age of 30, you reach peak bone mass. Then there is gradual decrease. Now the top line represents a male bone and the purple line below represents a female bone. And there is gradual decrease, but once a female reaches menopause, either natural or post-surgical, then their deterioration and weakening of the bone speeds up and they lose a lot of strength in the bone. So that is how our bones behave as we get older. Next slide, please. So who is at risk at getting osteoporosis? As a matter of fact, we all get osteoporosis as we get older, but females more likely than males, older people more likely to get it than younger, inadequate intake of calcium and vitamin D. So if your nutrition is not good, you can get it. Estrogen deficiency, either because of hysterectomy or menopause, you are more likely to get osteoporosis. Some families have much higher incidence of osteoporosis. Lack of physical activity. Now, this plays a role in young people. If somebody is in a bad accident or had severe illness and is hospitalized or is bedridden for a prolonged period of time, they also get osteoporosis even though they are young. Smoking, alcohol, some medications like cortisone and seizure medications make you more prone to get osteoporosis. Low weight people with very low body mass index also get osteoporosis more frequently. And petite Caucasian females and a lot of Asian females as well are more prone to get osteoporosis. Next slide, please. Other causes of osteoporosis are, so this is the commonest variety is called idiopathic osteoporotic, which is age-related osteoporosis. It occurs in Can we go back to the last slide, please?
Yes. Please everyone mute themselves.
Somebody's mic is open. Okay, so young adults can get it, and females get it after menopause and age-related. Next slide, please. Next, please. Okay. Then there are other causes of osteoporosis like calcium and vitamin D deficiency, malnutrition, vitamin C deficiency causes scurvy. No, previous slide, please. Yes. Hyperparathyroidism can cause it, kidney disease can cause it, liver disease can cause it, and bone marrow infiltration with things like leukemia can also cause significant osteoporosis. Next slide, please. Drugs can do it. Phenobarbital, which is sleeping medication, thyroid hormone, and steroids can cause it. Lifestyle is also important. Poor nutrition, too much alcohol, smoking, lazy lifestyle, inactivity, immobilization because of illness, and too much caffeine can lead to osteoporosis. And last but not the least, people with rheumatoid arthritis get severe osteoporosis. Next slide, please. So it is called silent disease because the bone mass is lost over many years without any signs or symptoms. So unlike diabetes or high blood pressure or whatever, where diagnosis is made because you get symptoms early on, in osteoporosis, you don't get symptoms until you are older. Now, what are the clinical manifestations then? A person loses height, complains of back pain, and some of them present with collapse of the vertebrae. Next slide, please. So when this kind of person is examined by a physician, they find that they are losing their height up to 1.5 inches or more as age advances. They have hunchback. They get a prominent back, which is called kyphosis. Their neck sags forward. That is called lordosis. And they are losing weight. And when you examine them, they have pain on certain bones. They get muscle spasms. In rare cases, they can get spinal cord compression leading to weakness of the arms or legs. They are losing strength and they are losing motion of the joints. And because of osteoporosis, fractures occur in several bones, like I mentioned previously: vertebral bodies, wrist, humerus, which is the arm bone, hip, rib, and your pelvic bone. Next slide, please. So this slide shows you how osteoporosis progresses. The left skeleton on the left side is 55 years age person, middle is 65, and on the right is 75. And you can see that the skeleton on the left side is upright, nice and strong. At 65, you start hunching back a little bit and lose a little bit of height. At 75, you lose a lot of height and you are really hunchback. Your abdominal core muscles are weak and the spine is not supported because even the back muscles are weak. So you get more and more deformity of the spine. But it starts with osteoporosis. Next slide, please. So how does your doctor diagnose osteoporosis? So sometimes if you had an X-ray taken for your wrist or your knee, just looking at the bone, a doctor can say, hey, you are likely to have osteoporosis. But that is not the best diagnostic tool. So you can get ultrasound done, and the best test is what is called DEXA, dual energy X-ray absorptiometry, which is a DEXA scan, and your doctor will most likely order that for you. And the advantage is that it gives you quantitative measure of what kind of, how much osteoporosis do you have, and it also predicts what are your chances of getting a fracture in either near future or far future, and you can compare two different readings about 1 year apart and see whether you are getting worse or you are getting better with treatment. So DEXA scan is the commonest test. Next slide, please. So what are the goals of medical management? So the main goal of treatment is to prevent development of osteoporosis. You can't stop it, but you can slow it down and you can stabilize it. We are going to get osteoporosis as the age progresses, but we want to maintain as much strength as possible and prevent fractures. That is the goal. Next slide, please. So again, you want to relieve pain. You want to make sure that people are able to do self-care like dressing, bathing, walking, exercising and such. You want to make sure that they maintain their nutrition, improve their physical mobility with whatever it takes, maybe physical therapy or a walker or a cane. Prevention of injury, very, very important. You do not want to get even first fracture. Bowel habits are important in digestion because then only calcium and vitamin D will be absorbed in the body. And promoting understanding of osteoporosis and the treatment regimen. These are the goals. Next slide, please. So you want to consume adequate amount of calcium and vitamin D. You want to increase the level of exercise that you do. Bones need to be stressed. They cannot be allowed to be lazy. Avoid smoking. Be careful about alcohol intake and carbonated beverages. Maintain optimal body weight. Create safe home environment so you don't trip over things or fall. Adhere to prescribed screening and monitoring procedures that your doctor tells you to do, like getting a DEXA scan done, and take prescribed medications as you are told to do. Next slide, please. Okay, so it's nice to say, take calcium and vitamin D, but where do you get it from? So milk, cheese, and yogurt are very good sources of calcium. They don't necessarily give you all the calcium that you need, but they are very good sources. In addition, high calcium foods are spinach, kale, okra, collards, soybeans, white beans, fish like sardines, salmon, perch, and rainbow trout, and foods that are calcium fortified. Those foods are available, like orange juice comes with calcium. Oatmeal can come with calcium, and some breakfast cereals also come with calcium. They all help. Remember, we think that milk, is cure for everything. 8 ounces of whole milk provides 400 international unit of vitamin D, which is adequate for average person, but only 300 milligram of calcium. So it's not adequate in calcium. And you need about 1200 milligram of calcium. So you're not going to drink 4 glasses of 8 ounces of milk. So you need some supplements. Now, the foods that provide vitamin D, again, include milk, cheese, and yogurt, fatty fish like tuna, mackerel, and salmon, foods fortified with vitamin D like dairy products, orange juice, soy milk, and cereals. Beef liver is very rich in vitamin D, cheese, egg yolks, and to get vitamin D from food, fish is a good option. 3 ounces of cooked salmon has more than 450 international units. Next slide, please. Okay, so how much calcium and vitamin do you need? So children need about 700 milligrams of calcium between 1 and 3. When they go into between 4 and 8 group, they are in their first growth spurt. So they need 1000 milligrams of calcium. Between 9 and 18, they get into second growth spurt. They need about 1300 milligrams of calcium. Adults, they need 1000 milligrams up to age of 50. 51 to 70, especially females, should be taking 1200 milligrams of calcium, and men needs to take at least 1000 milligrams of calcium until 70. Once 71 and above, everybody should take at least 1200 milligrams of calcium a day. And vitamin D needs to be 400 to 600 units between 1 and 70 and 800 units above 71. Now, your doctor may recommend higher levels of calcium and vitamin D, and you would be surprised that vitamin D deficiency is more common than what you think. If you are having pain and such, your bones are hurting, mostly your careful medical doctor will order vitamin D levels, and if your level is very low, which is not uncommon, you will be given mega doses of vitamin D. Next, please. So are there any medications that can make your bones stronger? Yes, there are. And you may have heard names of some of these. Fosamax, Etronel, Boniva, and Reclast. These are 4 different medications. I won't bore you with a lot of details. All these medications have pluses and minuses. An important thing about these medications is that most of them need to be taken early in the morning, empty stomach, nothing to take for an hour. You cannot lie down, and you take them with a glass of clean water. And that is how they are absorbed in your system. So some people find it hard to take these medications, but they are known to increase strength in your bone. Hormones, like estrogen. Estrogen is supposed to make bones stronger. And when females lose estrogen, they get osteoporosis as they get older. And for a long time, estrogen was a mainstay of therapy for osteoporosis. But about 10, 15 years ago, it was found after long studies that they make you a little bit more prone to get cancer of GYN tissues. And therefore, for a while now, estrogen is given in very selective few cases. Osteoporosis medications that I just described above, they sort of put a brake on breakdown. They can't make you 18 again, but they stop you from losing bone mass at a rapid pace. So they are important to take. Now, there are 2 intravenous medications available, which are given to you as a transfusion. Boniva is given every 3 months. Reclast is given once a year. But again, they all have their pluses and minuses. So I would recommend that when it comes to all these medications, please consult your primary care physician, and they will be your best guide. Next slide, please. There are some other medications. One is calcitonin. Calcitonin is second hormone, which is produced by our thyroid gland. So parathyroid gland. And calcitonin is supposed to make bones stronger. So if you have severe osteoporosis, your doctor may give you a nasal spray of calcitonin, and it is supposed to make the bones stronger. Then there are estrogen receptor modulators and hormone replacement therapy, to which I referred to just a minute ago. Again, that's a specialized subject, and I would refer you to your primary care doctor for further advice on that. Next slide, please. So, summary, what did we learn? Osteoporosis is a silent disease and occurs to everyone. Bone formation start decreasing at age 30. Then that's when your bone is at peak. And in females, it is faster after menopause. Milk is a good source of calcium and vitamin D, but does not necessarily provide adequate amount of calcium and vitamin D for all conditions. An adult should be taking 1000 to 1200 milligram of calcium and 400 international unit of vitamin D daily. Now, if you go to any pharmacy, you will find products which are a combination of, let's say, 500 milligram or 600 milligram of calcium and 200 units of vitamin D. Then you want to take it at least twice a day. And higher doses are, of course, available. Bones need exercising. They are like horses. You can't let them go stale. Sedentary lifestyle is not good for bones. So to maintain strength, you at least should do mild to moderate exercises every day. Females above 65 and males above 70 should consider getting a DEXA scan done, especially if you have some symptoms. And we recommend that anyone above 60, if you get a fracture, you break a bone, wrist bone or something, you should consider getting a DEXA scan done. And it'll tell you what are your chances of preventing it and what are your chances of getting another major fracture either in near or far future. So it's a good guideline. Prevent injuries, especially after age of 60. To prevent falls, be very careful on slippery floors, stairs and heights, put on good shoes, adequate eyeglasses, adequate lighting at home, especially at nighttime. Be careful at night going to the restroom. And I would strongly recommend that people above 65 or so should consider some kind of a life alert. It's available on your phone. It's available as a standalone thing that you can put around your neck. All different kinds are available. And we have seen examples where a person falls is all by herself. My mother-in-law, she laid on the floor for almost 14 hours before she was found with a broken hip because near relatives were out of town. So there are examples like this. So be careful, consider life alert, and take good nutrition. And most important, if your doctor tells you to take calcium and vitamin D, please take it. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
That was wonderful presentation, Dhiren Bhai.